sell to them. Say no to them. They are here to destabilize the economy. Say no to them. Therefore, we stand with Mr. President and CBN Governor to stabilize this circulation. Push more new Naira notes into the system, and then the transition will be easier. We want to let you know that we appreciate you all, Mr. President, the CBN Governor, in your efforts to reduce inconveniences occasioned with the circulation of the new Naira. Those still holding the new Naira notes are agents who are now, we have identified, and we are going to make them known to you here and now when the next speaker will be talking. They will be disclosed today. You will know them. These are the dark forces. They are saying all this things not because they love you, not because they love me, not because they love Nigerians. They are doing it because they are self-seeking men who are out there to destabilize our economy. All they are interested in, get this money to buy votes, because this year, people's votes must count. And without this money, there is no way they will do that. And we are not saying no. We are not going to sell our Naira notes. We are not going to go back on the new policy. We are going to stand with Mr. President. We are going to stand with Mr. Godwin Emefiele. Thank you very much. Muna magana chewa agwana Nigeria yanzu namune. Naira de muke yi magana Naira de muke yi yanzu. It is for everybody. Mama so mu sell the Naira yanzu. Kuna ji ko? Kuna ji ko? To yanzu federal government, the CBN governor, that's women are circulating more new Naira notes. Therefore, kusia kadane yai zamu samu new Naira notes. Inshallah, zamu samu. We thank you, Nigerians, for answering our call this morning once again. And Nigeria police will not stop appreciating them. Let us at this juncture appreciate Nigeria police, the DSS, the EFCC. They have made life uncomfortable for currency racketeers who are set out to make life we live here unbearable for Nigerians. Ladies and gentlemen, Nigerians say thank you to the Nigerian police, to the EFCC, to DSS. And we say, please continue to do the good work you are doing. God bless you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Comrade Gabriel Jebana, for that wonderful speech. We appreciate you so much. Now, to the main text of the World Press Conference on the state of the nation and self-democracy address by the Civil Society Organizations Central Coordinating Council this 14th February 2023. May I stand on the existing protocols and thank you once again, gentlemen of the press, for answering our call and affording us the avenue to reach out to the nation and inform Nigerians of vital issues connected to our national life. Just last week, we addressed Nigerians on behalf of the Nigerian civil society community. Among other things, we passed a vote of confidence on the new Naira policy and on both President Muhammadu Buhari and the Central Bank Governor, Mr. Godwin Emefiele. We also briefed the nation on the feelings of Nigerians on the new Naira policy, clearly stated our views and position on the ex parte order of the Supreme Court, and pointedly stated that it was mere subterfuge that the governors who approached the Supreme Court deployed the actions were not in any way guided by the love of their people. When we addressed you last week, we had about 350 organizations in our register. However, since then, we have been inundated with calls, mails, and visits by several other groups who wanted to associate with us. We are pleased to inform you that as at last night, we are having about 472 organizations in all who have agreed to sign up with us. Please, a round of applause for this. It is a wonderful move in good direction. Since the implementation of the new Naira policy, Nigerians, and indeed the system, have started seeing the gains, except for the hitches of the unavailability of cash, particularly for small businesses, which is caused by sabotage from those who do not want the policy so they can continue with their illicit trade. Other major indicators show that the impact of the policy on our economy is quite 100% positive. Also on security, the impact is being felt as kidnappers now know that there is no cash to pay for ransom. On our electoral process, it is now obvious to Nigerians that it is only the vote buyers that are complaining. This policy is facing a syndicated attack from a group of governors who we have termed the G10 governors. We call them the G10 governors. These governors have vowed that this policy will not see the light of the day. They are willing to go the extra mile, including making our country ungovernable and undermining constitutional governance, and bring the entire country to a halt, all for their own reasons, which are very much selfish. Gentlemen of the press and fellow Nigerians, you know very much that our primary economics states that money moves in cycles. Banks pay money out, money is paid into banks. That is how cash circulates in an economy. So, do we not wonder why banks pay out money and the money is not paid back into the banks? These G10 governors are mopping up the money and stopping it from circulation. The Central Bank of Nigeria had announced that it deployed 300 billion, I say it again, 300 billion in cash as first tranche of cashes it disbursed. Now, we all can agree that the money was hijacked and did not trickle down to the people. And the people who took hold of it from the commercial banks have not brought it out to circulate. They are withholding the money using various means, including deploying agents who use multiple ATM cards. They go into the banks with a lot of ATM cards, they pull this cash, they take it home to their masters. They withdraw this money, colluding with their banker agents to continue to trap the monies in the banks and buying off cash from business places that ordinarily make huge cash transactions like petrol stations, supermarkets, and departmental stores. This has made some of these businesses insist on only cash payment, as the profit they make from the sales of the Naira covers for the loss of business from those who do not have the cash to pay. Gentlemen of the press, may we now inform you that we have uncovered, I say that we have uncovered a grand plot. I repeat, we have uncovered on a grand plot by the G10 governors who have resolved to make Nigeria ungovernable for President Muhammadu Buhari if he refuses to reverse the new Naira policy. It is amazing to know that the governors behind this plot were the same governors a couple of years ago took advantage of every opportunity to praise President Muhammadu Buhari to high heavens. However, obviously because the second tenure is coming to an end, these G10 governors now believe that the president is not deserving of their respect. That in itself is quite hypocritical. It means all they were showing the president was sycophantic solidarity. Hence, we must therefore remind them that at this point in time, that President Muhammadu Buhari is and still remains the president and commander-in-chief of the armed forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria until 29th May 2023, and not one day before. They cannot remove him one day before 29th May 2023. Unfortunately, and quite so, these governors have switched allegiance to a new godfather, not minding that he is yet to win the presidential election. They are willing to their constitutional governance and do anything, including creating anarchy, just to enthrone him and achieve their narrow political ambitions. If I may remind you, the governor of Kaduna State, as you all know, has announced that once their candidate wins, they would cancel the new Naira policy. It is everywhere. We know that. So tell me, Nigerians, where his respect lies. We therefore ask, how many legacies of the President Buhari administration would the Kaduna governor demand that the new government they intend to form should cancel and reverse? How many other anti-corruption policies of President Buhari will be reversed if the Kaduna State governor and co attain this power which they so desperately seek? Maybe the whistleblower policy of the president will go alongside some other anti-corruption legislations. Gentlemen of the press, fellow Nigerians, our intelligence shows there will be intensified cash scarcity. There will be drama across the geopolitical zones of the country. People will pretend to collapse in marketplaces, in the banks. People will go naked as protesting against this Naira design policy. There will be pre-arranged fights and many other things to press home their demands. Many people have been activated to make this happen. Groups have also been mobilized to daily report at various banks' ATM locations to always stand around, cluster there, help create the impression and make it look like there are crowds at the banks, and that these people are not being attended to. Scenes will be created, and this is expected to put more pressure on the system and lead to the abandonment or reversal of the policy. It must be noted that this policy has succeeded in reducing the financial recklessness, money laundering, and vote buying capacities of these governors, hence the ferocious fight they are giving the policy. If, like they say, that their concern is the suffering poor citizens in their states, one would now ask, why have they not thought out any ideas that could make the policy work? Why have you not sat down with the central bank governor, or even in your own states, in your capacity as the governor of your states, to think out a means to make this money circulate? Why are they only interested in ensuring that the policy is abandoned or killed? In case they do not know, Nigerians are happy that this policy has hit them hard and curtailed their excesses. Nigerians are totally in support of this policy. And for now, the governors can cry all they want. The policy lives, and the old Naira notes are gone for good. Your plot to instigate businesses to shut down and go on strike, claiming cash scarcity, will fail. I repeat, your plot to instigate businesses to shut down and go on strike, claiming cash scarcity, will fail. It will fail. It will fail. It will fail. Nigerians have seen through all this. The storyline that has been spun that the cash scarcity was designed to make their candidate look bad is a false narrative. These G10 governors are behind the scarcity to force abandonment. The ultimate plan, where the policy is kept alive, is to cause civil disobedience, cause riots, make the country ungovernable, and intimidate the president and the central bank governor to reverse the policy. And we say no to that. Yes. Whatever their plans are, we say no to it. No to that. All these so that the G10 governors can have money to buy votes during the election. Our votes in 2023 election is not for buying. Nobody can purchase our votes. If you come with your money, Nigerians will tell you no, and will stand and vote. The monies are already warehoused in the old notes, and asking them to return same to the banks without having assurance to such volume cash is what is paining these Nigerian governors. Nigerians must not allow a few desperate people to stop the will of constitutional governance in our country. The new Naira policy is not aimed at impoverishing the people. The new Naira notes is not made to make Nigerians to be poor. The new Naira notes is not made to make us to suffer. It is aimed at making the people, it's not aimed at making the people to suffer any hardship. It was a beautifully thought out policy with perfect timing to checkmate the use of cash to subvert the sovereignty of the people. It will immediately stop counterfeiting, strengthen the Naira, checkmate ransom taking, banditry and money laundering. These and many more are the reasons why Nigerians support this policy. And for us in the civil society, this policy has come to stay. There is no going back. Yes, this is the best time for it to be implemented. just before the elections. It is a master stroke, and we commend the Central Bank of Nigeria and the President Muhammad Buhari for the outstanding courage to initiate this policy. Nigerians will recall that in a press conference, leaders of 13 out of the 18 registered political parties have pledged to withdraw their participation in the election if the policy is reversed. The political parties field candidates. They are the ones sponsoring candidates for elections, and they are the ones that should have needed cash the most. Rather, they support the policy and have insisted that it must stand. And we stand with them. The need for the protection of the credibility of the 2023 election cannot be overemphasized. Furthermore, fellow Nigerians are asking, is it not these same governors that got their state houses of assembly to vote against local government autonomy that are now the ones claiming to love the people? Is it not these same governors who would rather fly around in the world in private jets and not pay workers' salaries that are claiming to love the people? Is it not the same governors that mismanaged the bailout funds given to them by the same President Buhari and CBN governor? If you recall, state governors were given bailout funds by this same Central Bank of Nigeria, having Mr. Godwin Emefiele as its governor. And these same governors has mismanaged these bailout funds. Is it not these same governors who have failed to conduct local government elections so as to bring government closer to the people that are now saying they love the people and feel for them? Have they not reduced? Have they reduced the tuition fees in their states, in their state-owned universities? Have they disbanded the killer militia operating in their states if they claim they love the people? Today, they are the same governors issuing contrary directives with those of the president. Just some few months ago, these governors were publicly worshiping the president and eulogizing him. But because they view that the tenure is ending, they have abandoned him. They now speak ill of him, and they say the president is anti-people. Again, I say to them, President Muhammad Buhari enjoys our mandate, the mandate of the people, until 29th May 2023. Yes. Let me say it categorically. If these governors so much love the people, why are they stifling the political space and charging their opponents with trumped-up charges? In Ebonyi, opponents are in prison. In Zamfara, opponents are hooded out of the state. In Kaduna, buildings and property of opponents are demolished. In Imo, opponents are being attacked and charged to court for flimsy and unsubstantiated claims. In Rivers, political opponents cannot as much as campaign because they have a supreme emperor as governor. Same for Kogi and Lagos. How then can these governors claim their action is motivated by love for their people? It is on this note that we call on every CSO in Nigeria to pull out of any and every protest against the Central Bank of Nigeria or the new Naira policy. We disassociate the Nigerian civil society community from the planned destructive protests. We speak as the highest organ of the Nigerian civil society community. And we speak because we have the mandate to speak. Any person who personally attends a protest, knowing that the plan is to cause destruction to public infrastructure or buildings, houses, banks, or their infrastructures, cannot lay claim to being a member of any of the credible civil society organizations in Nigeria, and deserving of our help when the law comes calling. It is also on this note that we call on the Supreme Court of Nigeria, most respectfully, tomorrow is the expiry date of the ex parte order obtained by 3 governors. As you sit on that matter, do substantial justice in line with what Nigerian people desire. We most humbly beg you, do not be the wheel on which vote buyers will ride to compromise our elections. They have come out not for the people of Nigeria, but for themselves and their selfish aggrandizement. Over these past days of the subsistence of the other, they have further realized that the only purpose of their approach to the Supreme Court is to cause mischief. An attempt to use the apex court to cause mischief. In their attempt to use the apex court to keep the old currency alive, so that on election day their warehouses will be opened and the sovereign will of the people will be compromised. These governors who ran to the Supreme Court know that joining the CBN will further rob the court of its original jurisdiction in hearing the matter. If you look at the process that was filed at the Supreme Court, like I noted last time, the Supreme Court of Nigeria has original jurisdiction in matters between state and state, between the federal government and state government. And the matter that was presented before the Supreme Court was presented without the Central Bank of Nigeria as a party. I want to ask, how can the court appropriately determine the appropriate status of even the old Naira notes? Because the CBN is not a party in that suit. Now, without hearing the CBN, how, I want to ask, how can the issues be determined to the fullest? Could there be an order of court to continue to use the old notes if the entire old notes collected by the central bank have been destroyed? Could the courts appropriately determine whether volume of Naira pumped into the system by the central bank for each of the states before it is enough if it cannot hear the CBN? Nigerians do not want the mischief of these G10 governors. My lords, we humbly seek and ask that you refer them to the Federal High Court that has exclusive jurisdiction. The Federal High Court has exclusive jurisdiction to determine currency matters, as provided in Section 251 of our Constitution 1999 as amended. Indeed, it is true that the Supreme Court is not a Father Christmas. So these governors who approach the Supreme Court for gift to have access to election rigging money should not be gifted such assets. Nigeria is just 11 days away from a historic election, and every effort has been put in place by all authorities to ensure that this election is credible. That is what these governors do not want. The Supreme Court is a constitutional court. It is a court of policy and direction. It is not a court where groups come to flex political muscles or exhibit political abracadabra, like my brother would say. It is a place where decency reigns. We have implicit respect for the justices of the Supreme Court. We trust in their wisdom. Dear Nigerians, how many of these governors that are presently in the Supreme Court utilized the bailout funds they collected to pay salaries of their state workers? How many of these governors in the Supreme Court, those that are in the Supreme Court today, how many of them have utilized the bailout funds? They collected these bailout funds to pay out salaries of their state workers. How have they utilized it? These governors claim they love the masses. They asked for bailouts and we are giving bailouts. What did they do with the money? Some of them bought houses in Abuja. Some bought houses in Lagos. Some bought houses in the United Kingdom. Some bought houses in United States of America. Some bought houses in United Arab Emirates and all over the world. The Central Bank of Nigeria and the EFCC have jointly recovered about 20 billion naira from one state government. In short, we all know, from Kogi State. Just last week, we hear on the news that the wife of the same state government, the state governor, the wife, and his cousin were charged. And quoting from the EFCC statement, on an 18-count charge bordering on criminal misappropriation and money laundering to the tune of 3 billion and 81,804,654 naira. Nigerians, where are we headed? If this same governor loves the people of Kogi as he claims, let him ask her to stop running and go and answer to the charges. Anyway, like I know, she will not run for long before the law will catch up with her. The governor is obviously not charged alongside because he enjoys immunity. Because it was obviously through him that his family members laid their hands on Kogi people's money. These are the type of people in the Supreme Court asking for the old currency to continue in circulation. They never set out to work for the people, but to attempt to cement their positions at the table of their new master. They believe that if the old notes continue to circulate, they can buy their way to power for their new master. In the Nigeria of today, if there is a group that lacks the moral rights to speak on these currency matters, it is these governors. In fact, we urge them to take a seat at the rear because they got us here. And Nigerians have taken so much from them. Nigerians and posterity will not forgive anyone who plays any role in compromising the 2023 election, because we have suffered enough and do not wish to be provoked further. They have totally collapsed intra-party primaries into the states and always producing their choice candidates because of the financial influence they wielded using state resources. They have collapsed the local government system, so they have access to slush funds. We therefore call on the Mr. President and the heads of all security agencies to keep an eye on the activities of the various state government houses and the banking halls. Anyone caught sabotaging the system should be made to face the full wrath of the law. We further call on the governors of these 10 states to please show respect to Mr. President. Halt the incitement of the public against the president. You all have benefited from the generosity of this president. He has allowed all of you the free hand to run your states. Governors Nasir El-Rufai, Bello Matawale, Hope Uzodinma, Abdullahi Ganduje, Yahaya Bello, Rotimi Akeredolu, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, Doyediri, and Biodun Oyebanji, please show respect to the president. Halt the incitement of the public against the president. You all have benefited from the generosity of this president. He has allowed all of you the free hand to run your states. Today, you battle him because a legacy policy he has put in place to benefit the people seems like it will expose most of you. This legacy policy that seems like it will expose your failures before the people on the election day, and you are inciting the public against him. This new policy will cleanse the Nigerian financial system. It will ensure movement of money. It will ensure that movement of money leaves trails and will discourage illicit activities and sponsorship of insecurity. It will also bring about credible election. This is the same man you despise today and vow to confront directly. The attitude of not accepting opposing views in the state should not be brought to the Abuja. We wish to state that as the apex body of the civil society in Nigeria, the entire civil society in Nigeria supports this policy. We support the president and the central bank governor for full implementation of the policy, and we will deny support to all opponents of the policy. We also have confidence in the effort of the president and the central bank governor to ameliorate the genuine suffering and hardship of the people occasioned by the sabotage the system is facing. The Central Bank of Nigeria should closely monitor the banks and their disbursement of their allocations of cash. POS operators, in line with the resolution at their last meeting with the Central Bank of Nigeria, should not lend themselves to greedy politicians to sabotage the system. Petrol stations, please accept POS payments from customers. Do not insist on cash. we beg you, supermarkets, do not insist on cash. Departmental stores, do not insist on cash. Accept POS payments, accept transfer payments. The Central Bank of Nigeria, in making Nigeria to work, in making the Nigerian currency to work well, has introduced the Naira. Let us please embrace them, because the Central Bank governor has a good heart for Nigeria and Nigerians. Everyone playing their little roles correctly will solve these problems in a little while. In a few days, Nigeria goes into general elections. The credibility of election will be questioned if politicians have access to illicit cash with which to compromise the system. We urge those insisting on transacting on the old notes to have one eye on the good of the people and do what is right. All genuinely held monies by Nigerians have been deposited in the banks. Anyone having the old notes are those who are in anticipation they held the money for. But the policy will not fail, and Nigeria will be better for us. The attempt to undermine the president, the attempt to make Nigeria ungovernable, and the attempt to resort to disruption of constitutional governance will fail, and Nigeria will be better. We thank very specially the Nigerian police, the State Security Service, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the ICPC, and all related agencies for their efforts at arresting many of these saboteurs who overnight became the new currency mafias. These laudable efforts helped to reduce the hardship. We call that you all do more, as there are still vestiges of these unpatriotic Nigerians still sneaking around the corners, trying to make a fortune out of the misfortune of our people. And we say, enough of the plots to bully the president. Back off now. Back off now. G10 governors, back off now before it is too late. And finally, we have further reviewed the vote of confidence we passed on the president and the central bank governor. We hereby reiterate and reinforce that same vote as right, apt, proper, appropriate, and welcoming. The vote of confidence stands and is hereby extended indefinitely. Thank you all for the audience, and may the Almighty bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Please, a round of applause. Can we rise? Can we rise to the national anthem in respect of our beloved country? Arise, O commoners, Nigeria's call obey, to serve the Lord with no one saint until darling for all our heroes past shall never be in vain. To serve with heart and mind, one nation bound in freedom, peace and unity. Thank you, gentlemen of the press. Thank you, our colleagues from various states of the Federation. We appreciate you for coming. Please, we have one more function to actualize today. We have a petition which we want to deliver to the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice. So please, in that regard, let us march a little bit peacefully to the Ministry of Justice and deliver our letter. We appreciate you and thank you.
This is Channels Television. You've been watching our live coverage of the civil society organization Central Coordinating Council's update on the CBN's Naira redesign policy and cash withdrawal limit. We'd like to reiterate that the views expressed at this event are not those of Channels Television, but solely those of the speaker and organizers. Please stay tuned as we return to our other programming for the day.